Hello and welcome to the Black Dog Podcast, episode number 340.
Huzzah!
Wow, the excitement is palpable.
Isn't it just?
Isn't it?
It's Palpatine.
Yes, it is, vagina. Oh, God. Return of the memes. Yeah. So this whole podcast is just going to be us going, baby, vagina. And just,
right.
Yeah, that'll be it. Just that's 340 episodes of Black Dog history just turned into one episode. Baby. Christian Bale, take a drink. Anyway, so for those of you who don't know what the hell we're talking about,
Just hot tea, so I should become Skullface McGinty.
Yeah, there you go.
Avatar news now.
Yeah, Prometheus news now. So it's all going well. So anyway, welcome to episode 340. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
I'm Elton.
And this week we are going to see how everyone's week's been. Might be a short one this week. And then we move on to this week's movie, which is The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. Which was a step up from some of the crap we've been watching recently, but there you go. So not to keep my powder dry. So before we get going, let's see how everyone's week's been, and we will start with you, Jim.
Being fairly quiet-ish, just full on trying to get everything sorted for Christmas.
Yes, you have set yourself a bar. I did listen to the Hypnagoria today, and you have set yourself something of a task.
Well, I always do accidentally.
Yeah.
Well, the most of the already recorded already, so
Oh.
a few things to finish, but being a bit slowed up as I did get a hideous cold, and I was actually just very poorly yesterday. She had a nap in the daytime without having a drink first. That's how ill I was.
Oh, blimey! Full man flu. Did you go into quarantine procedures?
Well, no, Teresa had already had it, so.
Right. Fair enough.
You're being very brave, though.
You're being very brave, Jim.
Well, don't have time to be in it this time of year. I've got far too much shit to sort out.
Nice.
I have a big family, a lot of presents to wrap and buy.
Nice.
Well, that's been fun. There's every now and again things turn up in the post I forgot I've done my sleep Amazoning.
Nice.
Though, maybe of interest and of some use to listeners, as a kind of, it's that time of year, it's been Black Friday, Maroon Wednesday, Blue 5.
Blue Thunder.
All these strange new shopping holidays that they're inventing. The Black Friday that lasts a fortnight. Well done. Nice. You might be considering, buying some new tat. And indeed, I've been looking at reviews for buying various bits of kit for people for Christmas, and looking out for a bargain for myself for it. In the sales. And, you can go to lots of review sites, but I found if you're buying like techie stuff, one of the problems is all the reviewers are these overgrown man babies who aren't living in the real world anymore. They're living in a world where they're getting free gadgets all the time.
Nice.
You know what I mean? It's kind of, yes, I know this phone for 200 quid isn't as good as the, 1,500 Goggle Pixie or the Fapple empty your wallet, but I have to pay for my shit, unlike you.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I kind of bit the bullet, and I actually took a subscription to Which magazine.
Okay.
Because they offer you can get a free trial for a month. So I thought, bollocks, I'll do it. There's a few things I actually do want to look up, and which are very highly respected, doing impartial, proper reviews.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, it's been worth the price for admission. Their reviews are stunning.
Yeah?
Well, they pull zero punches.
Oh, blimey.
I mean, the banner headline on a review, if it's not a good product, will be, and this is a real one, an absolute disaster. Don't buy this, is the strapline.
Nice.
Is there a picture of a man setting it on fire?
Yeah, someone beating a thing to death with a baseball bat in the park.
But the whole tone of the reviews is full of this sort of sarcasm, especially when they don't like something.
Nice.
When reviewing this speaker, our felt feelings on it was summed up by one of our listening panel who just said, "For the love of God, turn it off." And my all-time favourite was, don't buy this stereo unless you want to hear your favourite album sound like a flock of demented ducks.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
absolutely wickedly funny.
Cool.
Listening to your favourite album, this will make Queen sound mean, and Justin Bieber, meager. That's another one.
Nice.
I'm just going through reading all the bad reviews of their don't buy picks, of the ones that say absolutely don't buy.
I sense
This stereo claims to be portable, but as it doesn't have a battery, we do wonder to see how that's possible. However, considering how it sounds, we advise you leave it unplugged anyway.
nice. I'm sensing.
I'm telling you, well worth £1 of anyone's money for the 3-month subscription. Just go through and read the reviews. They're fucking brilliant. And you'll get some good tips on what's a good buy.
Nice. I was going to say I'm sensing a section coming up. Jim reads a bad review strapline from which Jim.
So I'm very impressed. If kind of it's like just bang right on the nose. But it's also actually more seriously, the reviews are pretty good because they are kind of aimed at an ordinary consumer as kind of if you only want to spend this much, this one's the one for you. If you want a bit more, spend this one. You know what I mean? You can spend that much on that one, but frankly, it's not worth it.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, highly recommended.
I might well check that out. Actually, I've got a few things to buy myself. But anyway, I'll get around to that maybe in my week. Cool. Okay. Anything else, sir?
I think I'll leave it at that then.
Okie dokie. Well, then we shall move on to you, Mr. Elton. How about you?
Well, mine was pretty quiet.
Yeah?
I had a trip down to London on, when was it? Thursday?
That was Thursday, yeah. We went there.
Yeah, Thursday. Yep. And had the joys of Southeast Railway, which was, what a pleasure that was. It was glorious.
Beautiful.
So smooth and uninterrupted and so easy to use as well.
Yeah.
Especially when you go to a certain Falconwood station and ask for a ticket to Charing Cross. and the man, he doesn't have it. Honestly, he's so busy, he doesn't have time to put his mobile phone down from talking to his wife to help me out. It was beautiful. I'm so happy that he's so conscious about his wife's affairs.
Yes.
Was his wife having an affair?
I didn't get that close to him. No, There was a pane of glass between me and him. But, he was so busy and so attentive to other things rather than his job.
That's what we're paying the extra 3% for on our fucking yearly ticket now. Bit of politics there. Go on, carry on.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking forward to that. That's, fucking hell. Bunch of fucking arse wipes. Really are. I get onto the platform thinking I can get a train to Charing Cross, and he's given me tickets to go to Charing Cross, and there's nothing saying about a bus. There's nothing saying about swapping over here or over there, and I'm just expected just to know it.
Hasn't he given you tickets to Charing Cross in Liverpool? Because I think there is a Charing Cross in Liverpool somewhere as well. Are you sure he didn't give you the wrong tickets to go there?
Do you know, it wouldn't surprise me. And then he just thinks, do you know what? He'll get there. He'll be all right.
Yeah, don't worry.
Everyone knows where they're going, don't they?
Yeah. He'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
John.
So, that was fun. Ended up going to Victoria instead because it was just fucking easier.
Nice.
And went with Andy to the BFI, had hot chocolate and then beers, which was nice.
Yep.
And then met you guys in the Imperial.
Yes, a.k.a. the really expensive Winchester.
Fucking hell, yeah, isn't it just? Yes. But do you know what? Had a real, thoroughly good time, nice and chilled out.
It was
and,
good.
Do you know, I could have spent a fucking fortune on Lego.
Yeah.
I really could have, because me and Andy popped into the Lego store just before.
Yes.
And, man, I could have come out with boxes and boxes.
It is dangerous, that Lego store, isn't it? You walk in and it's just like, oh, maybe I could almost, oh dear, I've bought 600 quid's worth of Millennium Falcon.
It is so easy. But do you know what disappointed me about that? They had the Force Awakens version on display, the idiots.
And what's wrong with that? Just because it's got a square antenna?
No, because it's about what, about 80 times smaller than the one that you should have been looking at. The 600 quid one. I think that's what.
No, I was looking at the 600 quid
Yeah,
one, and
the
they put
600
the
quid one
Force
is the
Awakens
full-
antenna on it,
It
and
is-
so
yeah.
it comes from an inferior film, as far as I'm concerned.
It's still the Falcon, mate. It's still, it's
You
still.
do get the round dish with it as well.
Yeah, you can put the round dish on it.
I know you can, but they didn't, did they?
That's because it's featuring in a film that's coming out in less than 3 weeks.
You know why it hasn't got that dish anymore, don't you, Elton?
I'm aware of that. Yes.
You were watching the sort of like the previous one, that one called Return of the Jedi. You did see what happened to the dish in that one, didn't you?
Seen it many, many times and mourned that dish many,
There you go.
many times.
Yeah,
For a long while, they weren't receiving Sky TV on that Millennium Falcon.
that's why. Actually, that's why Lando's Calrissian isn't in the new trilogy. He's hiding from Han Solo after the no claims bonus didn't go through.
Ah, all right, little dink.
Yeah,
There
a
we
little
go.
dink. That's it.
But yeah, it's really nice kit. It looks glorious, and they've also got that Technics. Do you know what? That shop isn't as big as what I expected it to be, though.
No,
I thought it was I thought from the TV adverts, I thought it was fucking huge, and
No,
it's not. And I can see why people were queuing up outside to get in.
that's
'Cause
Legoland
it's tiny.
Windsor.
Yeah, it's just too tiny. So
Mm.
that was a little bit disappointing, but thoroughly good night had by all. I felt it was nice and relaxed.
Mm.
Couple of beers, couple of mates, couple of stories.
Yep.
That was it. And thank you very much for pointing me in the right direction, not to get on the incorrect train as I
Yes.
ran towards platform 3
Yes.
instead of platform 2.
Yes. There was two trains standing at the platform. He was clearly going for the one with the doors open instead of the ones which didn't have the doors open but was just sitting at the platform. And I'm going, Elton, and kind of making this kind of pointy move towards the other platform from a distance of about 100 yards and sort of try to direct him onto the right train because otherwise he was going to go off to Sevenoaks.
Was he?
He was about to go
Maybe
to
he
Sevenoaks.
wants to go to Sevenoaks.
Well, maybe, but it wasn't Falconwood. That's where it wasn't.
Wasn't the Millennium Falcon wood?
No, Millennium Falconwood. No,
There was no chance of getting to Falconwood anyway. I had to go to Woolwich and then get a cab up
God.
from there.
Oh, Woolwich.
Nice.
Yeah.
The only time I want to go there is like really early in the morning. I really don't want to come back through there.
It's all right. It's all right to go to Woolwich if you're making a zombie movie and you
Yeah.
want some cheap extras.
Mm.
That's when Woolwich is a great place to go.
It's just a hive of scum and villainy, that place.
We must be cautious. Anyway, cool.
So that was it. That was my that was the highlight of my week. So there you go.
I was part of his highlight of his week. That was lovely. Well, okay.
Oh
then.
yeah, I must still be coming down from like the cleaner effects
God.
from last week from cleaning the oven, because I swear there was like a dodgy Bear Grylls man walking around at some point as well.
Dodgy Bear Grylls, yeah.
Not Bear Grylls. Sorry, not Bear Grylls.
Is that an artisan burger place?
Rick Grimes. That's what I meant.
That's
Rick
it.
Grimes.
Oh yeah. Some shitty Rick Grimes cosplay wandered in.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know what he was on about. He kind of stood there for a while, nicked everyone's drinks, and fucked off. I don't know what he was about.
Playing those fuckers right out, I did.
Speaking of which, hello Darren, how was your week?
Well, it started off pretty badly because I went to some drink up. I just stumbled into it, and there was just
Yeah.
this ungrateful twat sat at a table. He was just like, from the word go, he was just unhappy to see me.
Yeah.
Made a few cutting remarks about the my jacket.
State
and
of your
stuff.
jacket,
Yeah,
yeah.
about the state of my jacket.
Oh God, that's just not on.
It's not on, no.
Came in going, go.
Do you know what? It's the sort of person I would hope would get on the wrong train and go to Dartford
Sevenoaks.
or Sevenoaks because they deserve to go to Sevenoaks. They're that kind of attitude. They belong in Sevenoaks.
Yeah, angry of Tunbridge Wells.
Angry at Tunbridge Wells, that's right.
Yeah. But anyway, how was your week?
Well, apart from that, it was all right.
Yeah.
I went up to Manchester to a convention by the name of For the Love of Sci-Fi. Now, I'd heard this was a really, really good convention to go to. Looking forward to it. So myself, Mr. Palacides, and Mr. Martin Thompson all went on a road trip up to Manchester.
We went on a convention by mistake.
We did. And as I commented to them, we were sitting in the car, and Andy's got a playlist coming on, and suddenly X Go and Give It To You came on, and I said to him, "This is the epitome of geek. 3 white fellas sitting in a car, sort of like rapping along to rap
X,
music.
Go give it to
Yes.
you. Go and give it to you.
Giving it the hand signals and everything like that.
Were you really?
Yes, we were.
Oh,
so
my
it was
God.
like you couldn't get any more middle class if you tried. It was just, it was just pathetic.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Okay.
So anyway, yes. I've got to say, I don't know what convention it is that everybody went to last year, but it certainly wasn't the one that I went to this time.
Right.
Before I got there, I was getting sort of like messages come through on Facebook going, "Oh my God, this is rubbish. Oh my God, this is shit." Apparently, and I don't know how true this is, they had something like 5,000 tickets or 5,000 spaces for people turning up, coming in, and they sold 7,500 tickets.
Oh, the Delta Airlines of conventions.
That's right, yeah. So
Right.
I don't know how true that is,
Right.
but this is the information I was getting. But yeah, just watching it blow up on fucking Facebook on their site was just funny as well. Sort of like how they, the convention decided to revive conventioning by making everybody queue all day for everything, even the toilets.
Nice.
So yeah, fantastic. And you know how you go to some burger bars, right, or sort of like the fast food things, and you get your selection of, you get burgers and you get chips and you get a drink. Well, they decided to be a bit innovative this time, and they split all 3 on different trucks. So you bought your burger from one place, you bought your chips from another, and
the condiments from the
ketchup
third.
from another.
So for me, I mean, they're quite a good dealer's room. They had a lot going on in there, and there's some really good stuff to buy. So managed to get some good Christmas presents from that.
Yeah. Though I still can't have truck with a dealer's room in a convention that you pay tickets to get into. That's like paying to go into HMV.
Yeah. Well, they had sort of like other stuff going on there. They had the Chet was there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Our latest on the intolerant Twitter feed. Malarkey.
Exactly. So we've got this one sort of like agent of chaos is there. Then you've got the Hoff as well, who was there. What's his name? Ernie Hudson was there as well.
Right. Saying, please give me a job or sign this photo for 7,000 quid.
No, from what I could see from the photographs, he actually looked like he wanted to be there. Whereas a certain, shall we say, one of the big names at that convention,
William Shatner. Let's just say
I'm not saying that at all. You said that, not me. Okay.
Well, what's the problem? Every video I've ever seen of him at a convention makes him look like the most miserable fucker ever.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll call him. We'll call him this celebrity. We'll call him
Deep Fried Turkey Man.
Cillian Wagner. Okay, Cillian Wagner.
Why?
Well, for the purposes of we don't want to get sued.
We won't get sued if someone says he looks miserable, because he fucking does.
He
I saw
does.
a picture of him the other day at a convention. He looked like someone who'd been stuck in the frozen food section of fucking Iceland for far, far, far too long.
Spock's gone to Iceland.
Exactly. If he was in Co-op in Manchester, he'd have a 10p stuck on his head.
Apparently, I think this is like one of his last conventions he's ever doing.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, because you've seen the shit he's been spouting on Twitter.
Yeah.
No one wants him.
Well, was it? He blocked the guy who plays Lorcan.
Yeah, Jason Isaac.
He's like, I've been blocked by William Shatner. What the fuck is this all about?
Yeah.
And what was it? Then he got unblocked, and he said, I only had to organise like a royal wedding.
A royal wedding, a missile firing over South Korea, and making the retaking the Americas using an American princess.
Yes.
Yeah, but apart from that, he's done all right.
Yes.
Jason Isaac. Yeah.
Yes. So getting near the end of the day, we had to leave, and we had to walk back to the hotel, right? Because none of us had
Driving
cab
license.
numbers.
All right.
So there's me, Martin Thompson, and also another friend of ours, Michelle Lally, who has gone to this convention. She's dressed as a judge from a street judge from the comic, 2008, from the Judge Street comic.
Yeah.
So she's had to she's put a hooded top on over. She's wearing a leather catsuit that sort of like, for the pads and everything like this. She's had to unzip part of it right halfway down, tie it up round her waist, and put the hooded top on to keep herself warm.
Right.
Now we've had to walk, and we didn't realise how fucking far it was. Right, I'm not joking. It felt like we should have had the unexpected journey music from The Hobbit going on there, because we walked, and we walked so far we got to the point where it looked like the Manchester Council had run out of money for pavement. Because, I don't know, it's like a sinkhole opened up. As we walked on, we found that all of a sudden, the pavement just dropped. And you could see where it was actually, the original level of it, it looked like suddenly it turned into like a concrete wall.
Right.
Because the rest of it has just dropped to the ground. So it's like, there's so much mud, we don't want to go through this.
Yeah.
So we've had to climb up on top of the concrete wall and walk along the wall by the motorway, right? Or by this back road.
Is this just a montage scene from fucking Train Spotting or something?
It is.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you look on Google Maps and find that it has "Here Be Dragons" written all over it?
There might have been. There might have been. There was a danger of me, my last words being, why don't we take this turning? That looks interesting. Look, there's the monument over there that's by the shopping centre. We need to go through there.
Yeah.
So it could have been my last words.
Yeah.
That was the last time they ever saw it. They would never seen again.
Exactly.
So we did manage to make it back. But it's just, fucking hell, there was a convention centre right next to the hotel we were staying in. It's like, why can't you have it in there?
Because it would cost more.
That was big enough.
But it would cost more.
So?
Well, then they wouldn't make as much money out of their tickets, and they wouldn't be able to pay William Misery Fuck.
But it was closer. I don't give a fuck about whether William fucking Shatner, manages to afford his fucking conservatory.
He's deep fried turkey based.
Oh yeah, where's the dingle dangle?
Yeah, the dingle dangle. But no, if you look at it, I don't know. This isn't the economics podcast. Fucking, I'll go to the Guardian for that. But at the end of the day, if you got 7,000 people coming to a convention centre in the middle of fucking nowhere, that means that convention centre is really cheap, and they've oversubscribed to get as much money as possible to afford one old, fat, miserable Starfleet captain.
And Dolph Lundgren.
Well, let's be
Dolph Lundgren was there as well.
Let's be honest. Dolph Lundgren would turn up for the opening of an envelope, so let's not put too much into that. But the thing is, we know from our old days on the old Babylon convention site that when they're big names, they charge premiums.
Yes,
and so that's that. So if you got another convention centre that's right by a hotel, surely that's going to be more expensive as it's more convenient, so therefore cutting into the profits, which means you wouldn't get interstellar misery guts.
You would have paid extra.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have.
Just to fall out the door and fall straight back in to the hotel.
Right. So, you actually made it, though. You got there.
Yeah, we managed to get back in the end. Although it's like I didn't have like a change of clothes with me, so I had to walk along the road dressed as a Ghostbuster. And then we finally got back to the Mecca that was this great big fucking shopping centre, the Trafford Shopping Centre, I think it was called. Went in there to join everybody else, the three of us, and I had to walk through Debenhams.
Dressed as a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, full of all these chavs and God knows what else. I've walked through, and I'm just like, I'm not even going to look him in the eye. I just strode straight through, like, I'm not the weird one. You fucking lot are.
Yeah. Hey, it's Peter Venkman. Hey.
And it was like, every once in a while, Ghostbusters, who are you going to call?
He's a fucking Ghostbuster.
An ambulance if you fucking carry on.
Well, the perils of cosplay.
Oh, God, yeah.
Get changed in the men's loos.
No, I didn't actually bring anything with me to get changed. I thought I was getting a lift back. I thought we would all get together and, but unfortunately, Mr. Placides had his glasses stepped on, so he had to go. He had to leave and get some more glasses. So, he did go to Specsavers.
Right. How did he manage to drive without his glasses?
I don't know.
Did you ever see him again? Has he actually come back?
He did come back. He did come back.
Fair enough.
I think he had like one slither of glass that he was looking through. You know?
Like a monocle.
That's right,
sort of across one eye. Right, okay. And what else? Anything else?
No, not really.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, well, my week is fairly straightforward. Went out for a drink and we met up. I met up with Mr. Elton, and Sarah, Lucky Minty, and then there was and hang on, I can't remember. And Andy Placides, he was there.
Andy was there, yes.
Andy was there. And then was treated to the glorious sight of Zarish and the fiendish Dr. Will and Harriet and Martin Thompson turning up all in Rocky Horror gear, which is fine. You know,
if there's a Rocky Horror thing going on,
if
but
there's
there
a Rocky,
wasn't.
yeah,
So
I was going to say they
turned up.
just turned up.
Oh, what the hell? Shits and giggles.
No, but the thing that is indelibly burnt in my brain, and is probably why I can't remember anything else about the rest of this week, and that's why my week is really kind of pretty bland.
Yeah.
Was that at one point, fiendish Dr. Will comes in, and he's in the full stocking, suspenders, velvet jacket, top hat, and sort of
High heels as well.
High heels.
Yep.
And I am sitting down at the table. He's come in, he's standing there, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to compliment him on that, because I tell you what, I wouldn't walk through the centre of London dressed like that.
Nope.
But you know what, he's actually come from his work dressed like that, and, you know, fair play to him, you know, kudos. And I went, you know what, that's an amazing costume you got there, and you're even wearing high heels. At which point, he put one leg up. He put one leg up on the chair to sort of show off, you know, the stockings and the thing. Unfortunately, what that meant was that little fiendish Dr. Will was in the budgie smugglers about 1.5 inches from my eye.
Put the mouse in the house. Put the mouse in the house.
Go to your happy place.
Squirrel came out the tree.
Yeah, it was. It was like Squirrel Nutkin had just popped out. It was like, what am I doing? Where do I look? What's the etiquette for this?
The quay.
So
cannot speak of it again.
And that was the funny thing, because then I look across the table and there's Elton and Sarah, and they're just looking sort of at him, but I don't think they quite realised quite where my eye level was, because, like I say, it was like I don't know. It was like
Did you have
watching,
to go
like it was like watching Tom Daly in IMAX, and I was up the front.
It was like at the end of the Minions where they do the 3D thing.
Careful, you'll have someone's eye up with that.
Exactly. I did feel like I was watching an episode of Blue Planet, and the bobbit worm was just kind of there, waiting to take care of any fish that went past. But you know, they had a good time. I took some photos for them, which I still haven't uploaded, but that I'm more than happy to forward them on. Actually, I should do that, because I've got these photos, and they always
once the payments have been made.
Yeah, exactly. After that, we all had a good time, didn't we, Elton?
Yeah,
it was good. Good laugh. It was a good evening. Yeah, life hacks.
I wasn't going to mention that.
No, that's fine. It's fine. Life hacks. Life hacks. Don't worry, you'll hear more about that soon, I hope.
Okay.
But but that was quite funny. And that was about it, really. I mean, the rest of this week has been just doing work, and the work is something which from last week I cut out of the podcast because I went off on one. It would have got me fired if anyone listened to it. So I cut that bit out. So I won't do that, make that mistake again, and have to do any editing.
Oh.
So let's just assume
Everything is happy.
everything is awesome.
Everything is cool when you're part
Part of a team. Yes. So that's that, really. I've got literally nothing else to say at all as far as work and home and stuff is concerned. It's all just. But the only thing I will say, for everyone listening, is that we probably, because of this workload, I will not be able to afford having a Tuesday evening doing this next week. So we won't be recording next Tuesday, which means that our last episode for the year will be the Tuesday after. Just so you know. Just in case I don't mention it again and completely forget, and then we're sort of like scrambling at like 3-hour mark going, oh, one more thing. Anyway, so yeah, unfortunately, I would love to be able to say that I did some crazy shit and something happened. I did put a hard drive in this computer. This computer is now running off a completely new solid state drive, and it isn't on fire either.
Isn't it?
Oh, nice.
No. Is there another one somewhere else that's on fire? Because,
yes.
you know, it's like magic. You put in somewhere and it takes from somewhere else.
No. I got it all working. I actually recovered an old hard drive. I shouldn't really be saying this given Jim's previous issues, but I recovered an old SSD, and I got the Windows off it, and then put it onto the new SSD, and used the old one as a scratch file now. So I've got a super fast computer as far as the hard drive is concerned, and got a bit of space, and it's still working. It's working, isn't it? Yeah, it's working.
Just about.
And yeah, I used Paragon. What was it? Paragon Drive Copy 15, in case anybody wants to know. And it just does everything. It just automates recovery and automates copying and mirroring and correcting of bad sectors. But it won't correct physical problems. But it will.
No.
But it will do its best to pull data from a damaged sort of software-based issue. So there you go. Just so you know, another little helpful hint. Nothing else to say, really. That's about it, really. Okay.
We're all good.
Shall we move on then?
Let's move on.
Let's do this week's film, which is The Nice Guys. Oh, by the way, seeing as 3 out of the 4 of us haven't seen it, I hadn't seen it before today, it's a mystery monocle. Oh, which reminds me of another thing.
It's just like the gift that keeps on giving.
No, it's not even that super important, but I just thought I'd mention it. Some people who follow these such things, Libsyn is now allowing us to basically launch the podcast on Spotify.
Oh, really?
Now, we can do that. We can do that automatically, and it would be fine. There's only one problem, and it's an email that came from Libsyn. They literally said this in capital letters, which was, do not use any commercial music at all. Spotify will see it, and they will kick you off of every podcast network ever.
Oh.
So, at the moment, we're not on Spotify. And to be on Spotify would require me to go through 340 episodes and take out pretty much every jingle we've ever done.
Okay, maybe we won't then.
So we won't be on Spotify at the moment. However, there may be at some point where I archive 340 episodes or 360 episodes or wherever it is and just start with a completely pod-safe setup.
I think that would be good.
At which point, yeah. So just bear that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. And if any of you are aware or use Spotify for podcasts, because Spotify is obviously now going to start moving into that direction, we will be there eventually, but the work that's required to get us on there without basically killing us on every other platform is fairly significant.
And not going to happen.
And yeah, and given how the Patreon I've been meaning to launch since October's going, yeah, probably not going to happen. But anyway, talk about the Patreon another time. Right, so let's do The Nice Guys. Roll the jingle that we're not allowed to play on Spotify.
Ooh, we're watching a new movie we've never seen before. I'm buttering my nipples and waxing my ass. Roll up the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up
Masturbation.
for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up
Some lubrication.
for the Mystery monocle film. The mystery monocle film is waiting for us to hit play. Going to watch it today, what will we say? Hey Pablo, I need a heroin needle and a watermelon.
Right, okay, so The Nice Guys. The Nice Guys is a 2016 American neo-noir action comedy film directed by Shane Black and also written by him and Anthony Bugozzi. The film stars Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling, Angourie Rice, Matt Bomer, Margaret Qualley, Keith David and Kim Basinger, or Basinger, depending on your point of view. Set in 1977 Los Angeles, the film focuses on a private eye, Ryan Gosling, and a tough enforcer, Russell Crowe, who team up to investigate the disappearance of a teenage girl. The Nice Guys premiered on May 15th, 2016 at the Cannes Film Festival and was released by Warner Brothers May 20th that same year. It received positive reviews from critics and grossed what against a $50 million budget, Darren?
I'd say 70 million.
Okay, Jim?
82.
Okay, Elton? Elton? How's Elton?
Hello, sorry.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm there.
There you go. Yeah, well done. How much do you reckon it made? 50 million budget.
77.
Well, actually, you are the close. No, Darren's the closest. With 62.8 million, it was.
Wow.
After a 50 million budget. Like Black's previously directed film, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, The Nice Guys takes inspiration from Brett Halliday, namely his novel Blue Murder. Black initially wrote a version of the script along with Anthony Bugozzi in 2001, which established the characters but otherwise was vastly different. According to Black, each would start with one detective, he with March and Bugozzi with Healy, and along the way they swapped characters and eventually wrote a first draft. This version of the script failed to attract any buyers, and then Black reworked it into a 64-page version that would serve as a television pilot. CBS became attracted to it, but given the contents led many to objections by the Standards and Practices Department, it eventually did not progress. Black would later, upon promoting the release of the final film, speak disparagingly of the idea of a TV series, stating that such a show wouldn't have been any good. By 2009, what am I talking about? Oh, from 1960s science fiction film. What the fuck is that all about?
I say, good sir, what is the year?
It's 2009. Anyway, by 2009, Bugozzi suggested that changing the film from a contemporary setting to the 1970s. Black's producer and friend, Joel Silver, was initially wary of the idea as he felt audiences would not be very welcoming to a period piece. But he changed his mind after producing Sherlock Holmes. Black stated the change in time period helped in the contrast of divisiveness, that we see now. In 1970s, it was a full multiculturalism, and it was all the aftermath of the protests, and you got the sense that we were all in it together. The contents also drew to risque films of the decade, such as Vanishing Point and Five Easy Pieces. Bugozzi noted how the title, The Nice Guys, aimed to be ironic and non-descriptive, as the two main characters were, quote, literally two of the worst people we could think of, and then tried to make that fun, given that one breaks arms for a living and the other one cons old ladies out of money. After Black completed Iron Man in 2013, Silver asked him what he wanted to do next, and he expressed an interest in doing The Nice Guys. The scripts were sent to Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, and both wound up taking the roles especially for the prospect of working with one another. Gosling even stated that he had read the script already picturing Crowe as Healy. The movie just immediately became so funny as he had never seen Crowe in a similar role. Gosling and Crowe accepted in the period of 3 days, and Black cited the casting as the major reason the film was able to move forward, summing it up as, after 13 years, it just popped into place in 3 days. The film was announced in June 2014, and the casting news with Margaret Qualley and Angourie Rice officially joining in September, and Kim Basinger in October. Principal photography began in October 17th, 2014 in Atlanta, while production designer Richard Brigland saw a challenge in the green Atlanta differed too much from desert Los Angeles, and he found some fitting locations such as Dallas Austin's house, whose design was based on the Dallas Austin's house. Oh, the rapper Dallas Austin, right? House, whose design was based on what architect John Lautner found in Southern California. Anyway, that's it. Talk about the music. Box office, critical response. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 92% based on 261 reviews, with an average of 7.5 out of 10. Site's critical consensus reads, "The Nice Guys harkens back to buddy comedies of a bygone era while adding some extra courtesy of a knowing script and the irresistible chemistry of its leads." On Metacritic, the film has a 70 out of 100 based on 51 critics, indicating generally favourable reviews. And Mike Ryan of Uprocks gave the film a positive review, praising Black's writing and saying, "If you like Shane Black, you will like The Nice Guys. It's probably the most Shane Blackiest of Shane Black movies. Black has a knack for turning action expectations on their head and mixed with knowing and rich dialogue." While IGN, Games Network, always good for movie reviews, gave the film a 9 out of 10, writing, "Working from a tight and sharp script that perfectly balances the characters like yin and yang screw-ups, The Nice Guys is an absolute joy every step of the way." And that's that. Let's just skip forward. So, no one else here has actually seen this film, have they?
No.
So I'll leave me to the end and we'll just go around the table as per normal. So, let's start with you, Jim. What did you think of The Nice Guys?
Well, as previously stated, I'd not seen this movie before. To give you a bit of background, I generally like what Shane Black does, although his movies never always entirely land for me.
Mm-hmm.
But he's never made a stinker. I can always appreciate at least, something about it. And so none of them, I say, have been awful movies by any stretch. When he's good, he is very, very good indeed. Now this movie, I think The Nice Guys had me probably from that first punch in the face.
The Ryan Gosling smack in the mouth.
No, the Russell Crowe. Are you the man?
Oh, yes, you're the man. Yeah, you the man. Stay away from little girls.
and that got the first laugh out of me, and I think I just consistently chuckled my way through the next couple of hours. And I had an absolute blast with this movie. I like the fact it's such a lavish period, sort of late 70s piece. I mean, I think as I've got older, I've got a real fascination for movies sort of set in that era, an era that I can sort of remember from growing up, but being too young to put it in any sort of context. And when you have movies like this, it takes you back and you see the world how you remember it, but suddenly, you understand everything that's going on. That's always fun and interesting for me. And this is just kind of really beautifully done, but without sort of doing kind of then the naff sort of pop culture faux nostalgia version of the 70s, where everyone's sort of going down the street on fucking space hoppers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And got disco lights on their desk and that crap and fluffy dice in their cars.
Yeah.
It avoids all those kind of cliches.
Yeah.
That people, that kind of, like we love 1970s talking head nostalgia show sort of wallowing.
Yeah.
And you get actually a more kind of an interesting sort of broader picture of the 70s of where there was this sort of strange crossover between art and porno and disco and that kind of changing times of the liberalism of the 60s. You go to some pretty strange places, and some people are getting rather radical and fucked up and extreme, and everything's going like, have we gone too far? I don't know.
I've got to interview the mermaids.
But at the same time, you got this sort of wonderful kind of like comedic take on the typical sort of noir story, because it is a very noir story. I think the idea, there's the down at heel detectives who are a little better than the guys they're chasing.
Yeah.
But there's that, they get that case that brings out the best in them
Mm.
and makes them up their game, sort of.
Kind of.
Sometimes begrudgingly.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of, I really enjoy seeing Russell Crowe giving the best performance I've seen him do in many a year.
Mm.
I get really the impression it's a case of where an actor's given, offered a part, and he's, oh my God, thank Christ, you don't want me just to be the door shouty, angry man again. The same role I've been doing since Bloody Gladiator.
Yeah.
And I can actually do something different, and he clearly just is having a ball with it.
Mm.
And likewise, Ryan Gosling is kind of, well, I don't just have to stare and sweat.
Yeah.
I've got dialogue.
Yeah.
I've actually got dialogue.
Yeah. I don't have to mumble. Yeah. Mm.
And they play off each other brilliantly. But they also play off the rest of the cast, particularly his daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she is an actress to watch, I think, of a definite sort of, future star in the making.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just had such fun with this movie. Really, really enjoyed it. To bring up the Faceback feedback thread,
Yes.
Sarah and a couple of other people said it is maybe a Barnard too long.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it's actually too long, but I think it does sort of not lose focus, but it just seems there's a sort of slightly slower bit in the middle where it feels like it's wandering.
Yeah.
Where maybe you need another set piece or just a little bit of editing. But, for my money, though, although it kind of was aware it was sort of wandering around the midpoint, I didn't really care because I was just quite happy just to follow these guys around and see what utter nonsense they're going to get into next. And I was still intrigued to try and work out where on earth is this plot going and what is actually going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll mention this now, but I'll probably re-mention it again. I tell you, it's a film that works better on a rewatch because once you've kind of got the swing of where the plot's kind of generally going, you kind of find that the second or third, or in my case, fifth time of watching it, you're kind of no longer caring about the plot. You're just luxuriating in sort of how it looks and the dialogue and the acting and everything else. And you can start doing the quote-a-thon things, I thought I told you to go up on the roof. You fell off the roof? I think I'm invincible. Like, basically, I think I can't die. So,
Did you fall off that?
Did you fall off that? You fell down. I didn't fall down. I slipped.
If you tell us what we want to know, he'll stop doing this.
Stop doing what? We can do it the easy way, or we can... That was the easy way. 20 bucks and I'll show you my dick. We already paid you $20. What the fuck am I saying?
Fucking Chet.
Fucking Chet. Anyway.
Yeah, but this is definitely a film I will be going back to probably on a regular basis. I think it's a very good pick me up sort of movie.
Yeah,
but it's one that kind of is rich enough that I think there will be a lot to spot on a second viewing. Now I know the shape of the plot and things clues you miss and things that tip you off.
Definitely.
Because it is just jam packed, and I'm guessing there's probably quite a few lines I missed because I was laughing as well.
Yes. There's lots of bits and bobs like that. Like I say, the second and third times around, I was kind of still picking out things like when they're in the lift, and he says, "I think they're the guys with no balls. I think they're Munichs." Munich? Yes. That's a place in Berlin. That's a place in Germany. You know who else came from Germany? Adolf Hitler. He was just following orders as well.
He had one ball.
Porn, bad. Thanks for that. Yeah. So yeah, no, it does get better. But then, once you get past the broad brushstrokes, it gets a lot better. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
So yes, I had an absolute ball with this movie. It was just what the doctor ordered because I was just starting to come down with my cold, and It just, I had an absolute hoot watching it, and
Yeah.
I say I'm very looking forward to going back to it and discovering, more layers to it.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
A
Excellent.
future chicken soup for the soul type movie, then.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry, I'm answering for Jim. Go on, Jim.
Well, definitely, I think.
Oh. Cool. Okay, then. Well, what about you then, Elton? What do you feel about this? Because I know historically throughout the cast since episode 200, we've come to the conclusion that gangster movies and film noir are not really your thing.
Gangster, I can do, but yeah, the noir is just right off the table. It just doesn't penetrate at all. And I went into this a little bit worried about it, but I felt like I was in safe hands with Russell Crowe and Gosling as well. And I didn't realise the director, Shane Black, hang on, I'm just going to go through this stuff that I know that he's done. One sec.
Predator?
Obviously, well, the Predators. Oh, the Predator.
Predator. I think
Is that the new one?
Yeah, the new ones is Predators. He's doing that now. He was in the original Predator. He was
Predator number one.
Yeah, the Predator number one.
No.
He was in that. He was the guy with the glasses making all the terrible jokes. Going, I said to my wife, "Geez, you got a big pussy. Geez, you got a big pussy."
Him?
That's Shane Black. Gets hit.
Okay.
Yeah. Gets hit by a tree, doesn't he? I think, or shot in the side of the head. I can't remember which one it is. But yeah. So it was him.
He doesn't fare too well.
He doesn't fare too well. No, so the guy who's trying to make Billy laugh, that's actually Shane Black, but he wrote this part of the script on Predator, I think. He also did Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3, Last Boy Scout, which
I love.
which is fantastic.
Love that so much.
We have to go back to that one. I think I fucked a squirrel to death. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, and I'll have to go through through a few some others.
He wrote Last Action Hero as well.
Yeah, let's not hold that against him.
No, it's a film. One of those films I've never seen all of it. I've only seen bits of it. And he also wrote The Monster Squad.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Wolfman's got nards.
So give us that immortal line that will live on forever, up there with Shakespeare.
Yeah, exactly. Alas, what light through yonder window breaks. Wolfman got nards. Anyway, carry on, Elton. Sorry.
I did feel like I was in safe hands, and when it opened up, because it is narrated from March's point of view and Healy's point of view as well. When you first introduced them, I thought, okay, got my heckles up straight away. I felt myself building the wall in between myself and the screen, but that was very quickly eroded. I'm very much on the side of Jim with this, in absolutely everything that he said. I think the comedy is just perfect all the way through this film. And it's from Russell Crowe. He looks like he's having an amazing time out there. He looks happy doing this, even when he's drunk or when he's pissed off. He just looks happy doing it. And Gosling he's not chewing the scenery. He's just perfect in it. I think he's brilliant. And that relationship he's got with his daughter as well, which starts off pretty shitty. And then builds up all the way through, and it's not kind of redemption. It's just they got a bond between them towards the end. And I really really like that. It doesn't think that the audience is stupid either.
No.
In certain situations where it doesn't do the cliche thing of, oh look, his head is in the hot tub and he's reaching around for the gun. We must show the gun. It's just, look, we know that the gun's in there. We know that's going to come back to play later on.
Yeah.
And then when you see the bullet come out the hot tub and through the guy's leg, you're like, yeah, there you go. You didn't need to see the gun at all, did you?
Yeah.
And it's simple things like that that some other directors don't really. They think that they need to show us every single time, just in case we're a bit stupid and haven't followed the story.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was treated well in this.
Cool.
But a lot of the one-liners, I've seen it twice now, and I think that says a lot.
Yes,
because I wanted to find out what I'd missed, and the one-liners. I'm trying to remember the one-liners, but there are so many in this. It's covered in them, and also like the little touches of the story about the bees turn up at the start, middle, end, and all over the place. I think it's brilliant.
In the very fucking end.
Point there, Bumble.
yeah. The air's terrible. I mean, no bee walks anywhere these days.
Take the hands off the wheel. It's a self-driving car.
I've got this little baby. You have an ankle gun? Yeah, I have an ankle gun. Later on, what are you doing? You got your ankle gun. What ankle gun? Was I asleep? Yeah, you were. Oh,
which makes me wonder: did he ever have an ankle gun? I don't know.
No, he never had an ankle gun.
but he might have, and then I don't know. I thought that was brilliant. It just gets me wondering and gets my brain working on it. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't expect to see a massive bee costume in the back either.
CGI bee.
Yeah.
CGI bee. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just keep driving.
Yeah, it's the smog. But then you got the smog story going all the way through it as well, haven't you? And that's on the news. The very first shot of Gosling in his room as well. And yeah, I just thought it was really well constructed. And I would highly recommend this to absolutely everyone.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. There's no diving into it and ripping it apart for certain things because I don't think it warrants it. I think it's really good natured. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but then also considers the audience, and I think that's got to be respected from this.
Yeah. It does just assume a level of intellect and that you're going to follow along, as opposed to, as you say, explain everything.
But first time round, I missed the credits for the 1977, and I thought, okay. I knew it was around that sort of time. I thought we were touching into the 80s on this, but I just didn't twig with all the fucking disco going off at the house and stuff like that.
What? Earth, Wind and Fire actually dancing?
Yeah, exactly,
fucking... Okay.
Well, only 3-4 years out, I suppose. But I thought it was just on the cusp of going into the 80s, and I thought Blueface, which is one of my favourite characters in this, he was just hanging on to the 70s. But then, obviously, the second time round watching it, seeing that, I was like, oh, there you go. Well, then that just ruins that idea of him just holding on to the 70s. He's clearly dead in the 80s, in the 70s, isn't he? But as Jim said, it doesn't go out of its way to say, well, did you realise we're in the 70s? Let's just remind you that we're in the 70s. It doesn't do that. It does the clothing, but it's kind of turned down a notch into realism.
Yeah, it just dials it back. It doesn't play up it doesn't, as Jim said, it doesn't play up everyone's on space hoppers and doing hula hoops and going around on roller skates with stripy long socks. It wasn't quite that level of kind of go kitsch, because the 70s were kitsch. Not every house had a bloody brown flock wallpaper. It was just,
just about in the 70s.
1977, wasn't it?
No, 79.
79. That's
when Boogie Wonderland came out.
Oh, right.
And that was when they were singing. So, yeah.
But it also surprised me at certain points as well. There's two instances where the main, the Blueface and the girl that they're looking for, I can't remember her name now. Amelia.
Yeah.
And where they're both just, they have their final scenes. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that bit on the road.
We're going somewhere else. And especially when Amelia just, stop, help me. It's like, oh, fuck, what the fuck? What'd you do that for?
Yeah.
But, the feedbackers are completely right with it lulling in the middle. It's from when Blueface dies, and then there's about 10, 15 minutes, maybe a little bit more from that point, where it's okay, we need to settle down now. And I think you're right in saying it needs just something there.
Yeah, I dropped that hint. I dropped it in the Facebook chat. I mean, like I say, I think Sarah and Teresa were saying the same thing, and I was going to bring it up a bit later on, but it gets to that point where they literally have the woman with the Coke bottles turn up and actually say everything that she said to Ryan Gosling, says it to Russell Crowe so that he can put the story together and get the third act started. Which is the only clunker for me, because it's just
it's quite late on though, isn't it?
Yeah, she's not been
really late on.
Yeah, but that is literally the start of the third act, because she comes in and says it, and they sort of actually do the detective work that they should have been doing at the beginning of the film. But I'll get to that a bit later. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, last thing I want to say, Holly March in this. I don't know if anyone else had this, but she reminded me of the little girl out of Inspector Gadget, which always solved the crimes with the dog.
Oh, Penny.
Yeah, Penny. Yeah, it just seemed that was her fit in it, and it just works so well, and it kind of gave me a nostalgia kick towards that as well.
Yeah. The bit you kind of get the sense of exactly where she what kind of character she is the minute they sit. She sits down at the bowling alley and sits down next to March and says, and he goes, well, "Where have you been?" She goes, "I've just been giving you a rim job," and he goes, "No, I mean." She means rim shot, and it's like, no, she knew what she meant. And it's like, oh. And that's the moment where you suddenly go, hold on, this is not just deadbeat dad. She's actually got sort of like a way about her and a bit more maturity.
Yeah, she's got a couple up on him, really, hasn't she?
She has quite clearly. You are literally the worst detective in the world. In the world? Yeah, in the world. The worst.
And Ryan Gosling's scream as well. Love it. Just love it.
Yeah, right up there, especially when he has his arm broken by Russell Crowe. And he goes he just literally goes up about 17 octaves. But anyway, okay, right, cool. Well, so I take it that's a big thumbs up from you then, sir.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, definitely.
Well, especially since you watched it twice in, a week? So
yeah.
That's pretty good. Cool, so over to you then, Mr. Barnard. What do you think?
This film contains two of my favourite comedy set pieces, I've decided.
Yeah.
One is where Ryan Gosling rolls over backwards off a wall and you don't hear any sounds. And the woman's standing there and she looks over and he's like 3 miles down the bottom of a hill.
Yeah.
Just continually rolling and rolling and rolling.
And then she just goes, that's cool. And it just wanders off, gets like distracted by a piece of shiny paper or something, just disappears again.
Exactly. Well, that's when he what is it? It's where he leans up against the tree and he lights a cigarette lighter or lights a cigarette and then you see the dead body beside him.
Do you know that dead body is?
Who's that?
Robert Downey Jr.
Is it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, cameo. There you go.
And my other favourite one is where him and Russell Crowe are trying to dispose of Robert Downey Jr.'s body. And that it's like, it shows you that these people should be looking where they're about to go first, right? They don't bother looking. You should see him push the body over the fence. And then it comes to a family having a picnic and the body just goes bang. Straight in the middle of the fucking table.
Yeah. And they just go, run. just scatter.
But it's the force which the body hits the fucking table.
Table goes up in half, doesn't it?
That's beautiful. Just the timing of it. It's wonderful. It's just that amount of time where they pushed it over and how far it falls. Like a sack of wet cement.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
As with all Shane Black films, as the guys have already said, it's the interplay between the characters which really makes these films, I think, something special. It doesn't matter what the story's about.
Yeah.
It's how those characters react to one another.
Yeah.
We saw it in one of my favourite Shane Black film, which is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yes.
Right, that's the pinnacle as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I loved Iron Man as well.
Yeah.
Thought that brought something new to the actual series, you know. And you even get like in Iron Man 3, there's a nod to Gay Perry in that with one of the guys that Tony Stark speaks to.
Well, in fact, sorry to interrupt you, but they take a line from Iron Man 3 and put it in this, which is, when he says, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, and he bangs him into the table.
Yeah.
Well, in Iron Man 3, it's him and it's Tony Stark and Rhodey standing around Trevor Slattery going, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Actually, this is already the easy way, and he's on the bed. So, anyway, carry on. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, Shane Black has to possibly be one of my favourite directors. I think just because his films have made me laugh.
Yeah.
And I've loved the way they do actually fit together.
Yeah.
I'll agree also with the fact that this is a Barnard too long.
Yes.
I think it just kind of strings it out just a little bit too much. Little bit tighter, I think this film would be. I think it would be neck and neck with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, as far as I'm concerned. Have you also noticed how one character always ends up with a broken arm in this? Robert Downey Jr.'s character had it in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and Ryan Gosling had this in this film.
But in fairness to Ryan Gosling, he would have ended up in a bandage anyway, because when he tries to break into the bar, puts his hand through the glass.
Oh, that.
Oh,
I think that was the thing that got me laughing first of all. That was the first thing that got me laughing at that, was when he tries to go through the door and he cuts his fucking
because
like, oh shit.
It's the hard-boiled dialogue at the beginning of that, though. Sometimes you just got to bend the rules. Don't always like it, but we got to sometimes do it. And it's like... And it's like, oh, that's a lot of that's an awful lot of blood, and you just suddenly get to the ambulance going, and there's the people in the ambulance going, stay with me. He's bleeding everywhere.
And the nun. So, have you ever thought about looking to God?
I'm just looking for Amelia. Sorry, carry on.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think most of it's been covered already. So my part is probably going to be very small, but I've done the set pieces bit, which I love. Those two make me laugh. I've got to say, never seen this before, but those two just caught me so off guard. I thought we were going to find the first time when he rolls over backwards and you don't hear anything. I thought we were going to find him sprawled on the floor about 50 foot down or something like this, but no, it's unbelievable.
Just rolling downhill.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Oh,
and the bit with the mermaids.
Oh,
I had a view the mermaids.
The random bit with the mermaid.
Yeah. Just randomly sailing past.
Yeah.
Do you know that's actually from the Right Stuff?
Is it?
Yeah, because there's actually a whole some of the guys in that film are watching on TV about some fancy apartment, and there's actually two women dressed as mermaids swimming in an aquarium, and there's a guy swimming behind them.
Got you.
And that's kind of a nod to that. So
right, okay.
There's lots of movie and stuff in jokes in this as well, which are kind of another reason why you can watch it again, because there's lots of
and
stuff.
See it,
yeah,
and what have you.
But like the Wile E. Coyote death of Keith David.
Oh man!
And just Ryan Gosling goes in the pool and he just goes splat.
Although I've got to say another a bit something else that made me laugh as well is where Russell Crowe at the beginning of the film and he gets attacked by those two guys in the apartment, and then. The one who becomes Blueface goes off to look at the case and he goes, "Oh no!" just suddenly the whole fucking screen turns blue. Just screaming his face off.
Yeah. Don't open that. Don't open that. I'm looking after it for a friend. It's got an explosive. you just out. I'm blind. He just looks. All his face is just like one half. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But that was a particularly satisfying death as well in that film when Blueface gets it. Not only getting hit by the truck, but then having his light snuffed out by
Yeah.
Crow.
Yeah. Who then hands the blood-covered handkerchief to Kim Basinger when she starts crying. and it's just, again, it's another one of those moments of kind of like, you see him do it, and then you suddenly see Ryan Gosling just look at it and go, no. And it's like, yeah, that's blood evidence.
And that's another thing as well. Why hasn't Ryan Gosling actually acted like this in other films? Actually done some acting and not... Because he was totally unrecognisable from what I've seen him in other things, where he's like in Drive, in Blade Runner. All I've seen him do is the sort of like the stoic, sort of silent type in that. He doesn't say very much in Blade Runner. He doesn't say, or he doesn't express very much in Blade Runner.
Have you seen La La Land?
No.
Give that a spin.
So he's kind of the same sort of... Because he actually had range in this film. That's what pleased me. Now it's like, I can see why people go on about you so much now.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you seen The Big Short?
No.
Yeah, he's good in that as well.
Yeah.
I tell you, if you really want to go off the range,
yeah,
and this is properly off the range, it's not something I'd recommend. But if you want to go down the indie, rough, weird route, go for Lars and the Real Girl.
Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
It's basically him as a guy who can't get a date with like these little pebbly glasses and long hair, and he buys a real doll and falls for it.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, but that's actually quite an odd movie, but it's actually in some ways it's kind of a nice movie but it's really bizarre. I can't recommend it. I can't actually actively say go out and watch it. It's a brilliant film. But if you want to see him act, it's quite cool.
Well, yeah, I want to see him actually give a performance.
A Place Beyond the Pines, maybe not. That's very... He stares off into the distance lots and maybe says like 4 words.
He looks like he's chewing a Murray mint or sucking on a Murray mint most of the time. So,
yeah, basically.
You know, for those people who don't know what a Murray mint is, big sweet in the 70s.
The person trying to feed Gosling cereal, them videos?
No.
No? Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Well, there's... a couple of years ago, someone put together some footage of Ryan Gosling, and every time, and he would try to feed him cereal through his TV screen, and every time he got the cereal near his mouth, Gosling would just move his face away, and it's really well done.
It's just the way it's cut to make it look like that, yeah.
Yeah, and cool. it was really good. Gosling heard about it, and then the guy who put it together died, and so as I think just out of respect for him for doing that and for a bit of love, he ended up sitting down to video himself eating cereal.
Yeah,
honestly, it's really worth watching.
Okay, cool. All right, well, we'll look that up. I would say we'd do it now, but yeah, it'd be one of those 5 minutes of 4 guys look at some YouTube.
Yeah, we do it after.
Yeah. What? Anything else, sir? You got anything additional to add?
No.
Nice.
No, I think, like I say, the film itself, the comments about the look of it, the soundtrack, from what you hear of it, just that's great. I love that soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack is absolutely tip top.
Indeed, it is. I did actually reach for the phone. I went straight onto Amazon. It's like, okay, let's see what we got here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if they've got the compilation. If there's a compilation, or
there is. There is actually a compilation of the musical track or the sort of like the chart stuff.
Yeah,
that they've got on there.
Yeah,
I found it on. In fact, you can actually. It's just MP3 though, from what I could see.
Yeah,
don't think there's an actual physical album.
Album. I was going to say, is it just someone who just assembled a list?
No, it's actually an official soundtrack,
right.
But I think it's just MP3 only.
Okay, because I've only ever seen the John Ottman score, which is all right, you know, if you like your sort of like moody, smoky sax music. But
if I can find it on Amazon here, I'll bung a link up on Facebook.
Do that. That'd be great. Cool. Okay. Shall I do my bit?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Okay, fine. Well, I mean, this is, like I say, this is about my 5th time of watching this thing. I love it. I will forgive a lot of story problems and lots of pacing problems if the characters are engaging and the dialogue is fun. That's one of my big weaknesses. If a film has got a shitty plot, but the two characters that run right through it, I like, and I want to spend more time with them, then I will forgive it pretty much anything. I mean, this has got chemistry by the bucket load. It's got atmosphere to spare. I mean, it's got tons and tons and tons of references within the film which give you a clue as to where the plot's going right from the start, including Misty Mountain's first words when you see her sort of dead in the car. You know, how'd you like the car, big boy? You know, that's the first line that comes out of her mouth, and it turns out that she's not just saying that to the kid. She's not drugged out of her head or anything like this, which is a sort of like almost the automatic reaction you're supposed to have. She's actually giving the clue to the audience and the kid right at the front, right at the start. And you're like,
yep,
fuck, it was there from the start. Yeah, basically, I mean, it's just layers and layers and layers of visual information, which is just amazing. I mean, I love the gags, I love all the dialogue, and I love how sleazy and unapologetically sleazy the characters are. Like the Ryan Gosling bit where when you first see him and he's talking to that old lady. I haven't seen Fred since the funeral, and there's the fucking ashes up on the fucking side, and he's like, I can start right away, and he's like, you git. But the thing is, it's all pulled off with such charm that you're hating yourself for liking them.
Yeah.
And you kind of think, really, you shouldn't be seeing the bright side of these people, but they are just, it's just done with such a sort of panache. But I tell you what, there's like things like, there's references to all sorts of 70s TV shows in there. I mean, like, I tell you what, I don't know if this is maybe pushing it for some, but you remember the Rockford Files?
Yes, I do.
Where did he keep his gun?
Where did he keep his gun?
When he was in the house. In a cookie jar.
Oh, yes, of course, he did. He did, yeah.
He kept his gun in the cookie jar. And he also had a picture, the Jim Rockford Detective Agency thing, was a picture of his head in that sort of exact same style that Ryan Gosling's got, when he's got the big head and,
the advertising.
The advert. That's exactly the same as the Rockford Files, including the whole thing of him having an answer phone which he never answered. Which is the first thing that happens when you've got Gosling in the bath trying to get across the water, trying to get across the desk, to get to his answer phone. There's even references to Shane Black's own films, because when he walks out of the porn theatre, when he walks out of the porn store, Ryan Gosling walks out. There's a big poster on the back for a porn film called Bang Bang Kiss Kiss in the background. I mean, there's just tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff like that. And as I said, even down to that scene with Robert Downey Jr. as the body. When he's sitting there beside the tree and he lights the cigarette up, and then it lights up the body and then it goes back down. That's actually a reference to Abbott and Costello, and that whole gag of him going, "Ba-oo, ba-doo,
yeah, I did think that.
Yeah, exactly. It's an Abbott Costello gag. And again, that was one of Black's kind of touchstones. And it got me thinking that, you know what? And this is probably going to be a bit tangential, bit off the tangent. So if you guys agree or don't agree, by all means jump in on this one. But I honestly think at one point I was watching a Laurel and Hardy thing with Russell Crowe as Oliver Hardy and Ryan Gosling as Stan Laurel. They would, because when they're in the lift, when they come out of the lift, and he's going down in the lift, you can just see Ryan Gosling's eye kind of twitching in that kind of sort of, I don't know. And he kind of starts crying, doesn't he? he had his real Stan Laurel thing going on. I don't know. And that was kind of part of the charm. I was kind of sitting there watching what looked like a sort of Abbott and Costello, hard-boiled Abbott and Costello, Oliver Hardy, Stan Laurel sort of comedy thriller set in the 70s. And the dialogue is super sharp, and blimey, what was it? I've got loads of them noted down. I mean, it's like that whole bit about like, we did it, and nobody got hurt. Well, a lot of people got hurt. No, but they died, but they didn't get hurt. You know, just stuff like that. And what was it? Jesus Christ, you took the Lord's vain name. No, actually, I found it very useful.
Yeah. Is that okay, Tracy?
Is that okay, Janet?
Oh,
Janet. Janet? Yeah, and all that sort of thing. And just little things like the whole thing about the Waltons.
So the one bit that came back to me is when you've got Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe sitting at a table, and then the daughter comes to join them. She goes, "You beat people up for a living?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah." She says, "Can you beat up Donna or whatever?"
Janet. That's Janet. Can you beat up my friend Janet? It's like, that's that whole thing of Janet. Yeah.
Does she annoy you? Oh, God, yes.
Okay, well, I can do it for the whatever. So the plot itself, like I say, I think if there's a problem with the film, it does sag in that sort of just before the final third act, and I think that's partly because you can only go so far with that crazy antics. Once Blueface gets run over by Shane Black in a minivan. Shane Black. Because you see him again when they're... That's the other thing. You see him again in the scene when the lawyer gets them out of the police station. And they're all in the traffic. And Ryan Gosling sort of rests against the car and he's kind of trying to sleep. There's a big black panel van, which is the one that ran him over, and it's got Shane Black in the driving seat, and they're literally sitting that side. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you see all this kind of, there's all those little details, and it's just lovely.
I've put the link up for the album, by the way.
Awesome.
On the thing. There is a
Facebook
physical
group.
album, but they want £21.46 for it.
Well,
so screw that.
Yeah.
The MP3 album's only $8.90. Was it $7.99?
Nice.
So I've already bought that. That one's downloading to my phone right now.
Okay, so if Jim and Elton suddenly start going, that's my bandwidth.
That certainly is your bandwidth. Yeah.
Thank you. Brilliant. So once it hits that bit, they have the crazy antics. Blueface gets killed. They really don't know how to push that film on from that point onwards. Once John Boy shot the place up, and basically Abigail's died. And is it Abigail? I keep forgetting. It's Amelia. I don't know why I keep saying Abigail, but anyway, once Amelia's died, it's like everything was resting on, the whole plot was resting on her. So when she dies, they don't know what to do. So literally they have to restart the plot by having Lady with milk bottles in her eyes pull up for no discernible reason, literally just drive up to the car and go, "So I definitely saw her in the window, and she was definitely wearing a black and white striped suit, and she was definitely doing this, that, and the other," and saying all these things, and you think, why is she here doing that? And then suddenly you realise it's because none of this detail, which Ryan Gosling knows, has actually ever been handed over to Russell Crowe, so that she's now doing it to him, effectively. It's the writer just going, "Oh, by the way, he knows now," and then suddenly the plots all go tie together, and then the third act can start. The actual film being spliced in, and the whole thing with Holly coming in trying to take the lady down with the coffee and just throwing the cold coffee on her. What was that? Well, it was cold coffee. That was coffee. I thought it might be hot. It's probably been standing in the hall for a while. And there's Ryan Gosling lying on the floor going, "I like where your head was at, sweetie. Well done. Good idea." After he's already been scrambling around for an imaginary gun Russell Crowe's ankle. But then it results in her falling over and getting hit. But I just love it. I just thought it was such a good film. So well written, so well acted. I don't think Russell Crowe's been better. I think Ryan Gosling has. I really liked his performance in Blade Runner. Whether or not you found that a bit too stoic on it, I don't know. But the thing was, I just come away from that film just thinking, I could watch that again and I wouldn't need to follow the plot. I just want to hear all that dialogue backwards and forwards.
I think the reason I go with the whole Ryan Gosling being stoic thing is that the last thing I saw him in was Drive, and that's how he is in that.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like 2 films back to back. You start getting an impression of an actor, whether it be right or wrong, from just those 2 movies.
Yeah.
You know, if they act very much the same in each one, it's like once you've seen one Steven Seagal movie, you've seen them all.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, am I getting this with Ryan Gosling now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I get you. I mean, yeah, I even with its pacing flaws, and you know, like I say, it is because the problem is the plot's based on Amelia. It's too heavily weighted on her to start with. But I tell you, the going back to like how Blueface dies and all this kind of thing, his death is kind of an interesting thing because it's kind of like all the way through it, you're thinking, he killed those fish, the bastard. He's clearly fucking nuts. And when Russell Crowe kills him, you don't mind it so much until you're suddenly Holly's there going, is he okay? You didn't kill him, did you? And it's suddenly like, on one hand you're kind of thinking, well, she's seen enough shit now. She's seen enough things. But then on the other hand, you get that little slither of innocence, and it's just like, no, actually, no. You kind of get confronted with the fact that he did do a bad thing. Suddenly, he's not the nice guy anymore. He's kind of he's a bad guy. He has killed someone when he shouldn't have done. And it does that again a little later on. You know, you don't have to kill John Boy. You can take him out. You know, you just had your life saved by a little girl, and it just adds that little extra layer of sort of story dust on the Russell Crowe character and his relationship with Holly. And I just thought that was really nice. I really enjoyed that as well. And yeah, I just really like this film. I can't be objective about it. I just really enjoyed it, and it's a shame that it didn't make more money because I honestly would like to see those 2 characters again in another caper, effectively.
Well, I mean,
most definitely.
I did hear that the proposed TV series was they were going to set it a bit later and gender flip it.
I don't. To be quite honest, firstly, gender flipping for the gender flipping's sake makes no odds, and to be quite honest, I don't care one way or the other. If someone wants to go and do that, that's fine, and if it's funny and it works, fine. But personally, I think I go with Shane Black's point of view that even though, because I know that it's been mentioned on the group, on the Facebook group, I think it was Dr. Will, or was it Sarah saying someone said, I'm just going to, seeing it as a Fred, Dr. Scum saying he would like to see it as a HBO TV show. And you know what? Maybe it would work, but for some reason, I get the sense that if it became an ongoing series, you wouldn't be able to maintain that level of writing. Because the way the plot's kind of so interweaving and the way the dialogue's so snappy, I just can't see that working over like 15 episodes and an ongoing one single plot thing. Just doesn't. I don't think it would work. I mean, everyone seems to like it on the Facebook group. I mean, he was, Fred said that, he thought it was a cool movie. He would like to see it on HBO. Martin Thompson said that this is the second time he's seen it, thanks to me. Thanks. And, it could have been shorter, and both these dialogues are brilliant in this. I love how it subverts the usual tropes of PI movies, and the inclusion of Holly was very good. Andy has mentioned that he still winces when he thinks about that sound effect of the arm being snapped.
Hey.
And it was quite funny. I went to see it at the cinema with him at the time, and when it happened, I literally felt him twinge. And he literally jumped. It was like, snap, ow. But
well, he's been there, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, exactly. He has been there, yeah. Was it Sarah Lazelle, Lucky Minty says, I wasn't sure what to make of this film. After having a couple of days of reflection, I still like it, but I think I need to watch it again as my attention had drifted in the middle and I felt I got lost a bit in the storyline. That said, the chemistry between Gosling and Crowe was great, and it was the first role that I can remember liking either of them in. The comedy was great and touches of slapstick provided lots of laughs. Like Fred, I can see the concept of Nice Guys being a TV series, and if it was cast right, I think it would be really fun. Teresa said the same thing, that she thought it sagged in the middle, and said it needed an information dump towards the end to remind everyone what was happening. Anne-Marie Organ from the now free as a bird, flying high on Libsyn broadcast, which you can find at broadcast.libsyn.com and on iTunes, said, I really enjoyed this movie the first time I'd seen it. Loved the dialogue. I had to interview the mermaids. Pete thought it was the first time he'd seen it until he recognised the building, and then a mate of his retweeted that he saw it in May. He may have had a beer at the time. Chatan said he really enjoyed the film and good soundtrack, because the soundtrack is superb.
Yep.
It really is. It's proper Guardians of the Galaxy level. You could put this on at a party and just leave it running.
Yeah. Got it. It's got it on my phone now.
Yeah,
play tomorrow.
Between this film, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Baby Driver, I think you've got a playlist.
I've got all three of those out.
Par excellence. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a bloody good playlist, that lot. Yeah, Fred, as I've already mentioned. Alan Wilby said he just watched it, really enjoyed it. Great soundtrack and superb 70s. Everything. Meandered a bit through the middle of the film, but the great chemistry between Reynolds and Crowe kept it moving along. Reynolds' daughter, Holly, put in a top performance also. Gags and action aplenty. Loved the scene in the lift after the guy gets thrown off the roof. And Ryan Reynolds' left eye twitching was really nicely done. Yeah, 8 out of 10. So yeah, I'm really glad that you guys have seen this now and actually you all unanimously like it. I was really a bit nervous that I was going to be like, I've seen this 5 times, brilliant, isn't it? And you're all like, no. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm on my own.
There's lots to gather up, and it is going to turn out to be like a quote-a-thon at some point. I'm definitely going to be watching it again, and I actually can't wait to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just...
I want to learn it. I really do.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's kind of one of those things where you'll watch it and you'll think, I must remember that line. You know, things like when he was describing the old lady having glasses so thick that they're like bottle tops. You know, and if you put a moustache on a Volkswagen Beetle, you'd say, "My, that Omar Sharif runs really fast." It's a brilliant line of dialogue, but it's only given to you as a voiceover on top of a drive through the streets. But yeah, it's brilliant. I just think it's such a good film, and it's a shame that it didn't make more money, because I think it should have. Because I think it was just, unfortunately, just released at the wrong time. There was big Marvel films floating about and all sorts of things, and sassy one-liners weren't a new thing. And was it 2016? So I can't remember what films were out there. I think it's probably Civil War it was up against.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Will Catlin Hallett, by the way, also said that he thought this was surprisingly good fun. The slapstick in Pink Panther really did nothing for me, but here it worked, such as the projection room and the long sequence that ultimately ends with knocking out Tally and Gosling's repeated falling off of buildings. It was definitely a Barnard too long, and for those new listeners, because we know we have new listeners, hello everyone, a Barnard is basically where we went through a whole phase of Darren basically telling us that everything was 30 minutes too long, so that is now officially a unit of measurement. One Barnard is 30 minutes. Half a Barnard, 15.
Like a carradine.
Exactly, a carradine. A carradine is how many famous people you can have masturbating inside a cupboard, but that's a different set of stories.
It's a strength tester.
It's a strength tester. Yeah, IKEA use it, but they don't like to tell anyone about it.
Is it carradine with a Hutchins?
Carradine with a Hutchins is if it's got one of those bars for the suits. Yeah. You can hang that off the wall.
Too soon?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, anyway, so Will continues. It was definitely a Barnard too long, as mentioned above, but the fact that they needed to reiterate the plot just to remind you what was going on was very telling. The scripting was great. There's some good quotable lines in it. I'm not sure how much rewatch value it has, mainly due to it being too long. If this was a bit tighter and a bit shorter, it would be a good one to revisit, but you could get some good quote-alongs going. Excuse me. So, yeah, I mean, it is a really good quotable film. It's just the problem is that it is so densely packed that you do kind of miss it. You kind of have to go over it again and again and again.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think overall big thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's that then. So yeah, we're gonna tell you what's happening in the next episode, what film we're gonna be covering. The only problem is obviously I've just realised that we've got like hundreds and hundreds of extra episodes listed, and we've only got one more for the end of the year.
I would say.
So just let's have a little production meeting while we're recording.
Yeah.
We've got a choice of. Now there was Curse of the Wererabbit, which was going to be our Christmas movie.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But then we've got on the list already established Battleship. Listen out! If you're very quiet, you can hear Chris.
Such a hot choice.
If you listen really quietly, you can hear Chris Oster going, "Yes," because we put that film off about 7 times now.
Maybe we should make this number 8.
We've also got Doctor Strangelove, and we've also got Serenity.
You know, Battleship is actually going to become our version of Matt Damon. Because if you ever watch it, I think it's the Jimmy Kimmel show. At the end of every show, he goes, "Well, we were going to have Matt Damon on, but we've run out of time."
So we got 4 films: Curse of the Wererabbit,
Yeah.
Battleship,
Mm-hmm.
Serenity,
Yeah.
and Doctor Strangelove. There's 4 of us. Make a vote.
I think,
Darren, which one of those 4 would you go for?
Okay, I'd say let's end the year on a nice light and fluffy note, and let's go for Doctor Strangelove.
Okay. Jim, which one would you go for?
Curse of the Wererabbit.
Okay. Elton, what one would you go for?
I would go for the Wererabbit.
Okay, that's 2 for the Wererabbit, so that makes mine. Well, I guess it doesn't
You're
matter.
going to go
Does
for
it?
Serenity, aren't you? Then?
Yeah, I'll go for Serenity and just blow the. I'll say Battleship, and then Chris won't have a go at me. I was like, I did put the vote in.
Do you count as 3 votes?
No.
You don't?
God, no. No, this is not like the Strictly Come Dancing fucking judges thing. I'm not going to sit there and my vote will keep you off the dance off.
Oh, right, okay.
No, don't worry.
Dance off, dude.
I've watched too many Strictly Come Dancings recently.
Have you?
Yeah, Hey, man alive.
So you know your merengues from your
I know me
Paso Dobles.
I know me Paso Dobles from me American Smooth, mate. I'll tell you that.
I bet, yes.
I can show you a cha-cha-cha versus a Charleston.
So you
Euphemism.
So
if you don't get a star step right, I'll blow your fucking kneecaps off.
Okay,
right. Well,
right.
there we go. That was Len's vote.
Len's not there anymore.
Oh, he's retired, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's not there anymore. He does a really shitty game show about rhyming that was clearly something just to play out his contract.
Cupid stunts.
Cupid stunts, yeah, exactly. What rhymes with Cupid stunts, Len? So, okay, right, fine. In which case, so we're not doing an episode next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday will be our last episode because it'll be recorded on the 19th of December. So that'll be our last one for the year before we do our year in review, which will be on the 3rd of January or possibly the 10th. Which
Probably the 10th.
Yeah, probably the 10th. So we'll do a year in review on the 10th of January. So next week will be, next time we record will be Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Wererabbit. And then we will promise I'll move episode 341, 342 and 343 straight in after our end of the year review in January. It will be the tidy up January season.
Yes.
Just to finish it off. So, anyway, right. So, that's it. So, join us on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast, to leave your feedback for Curse of the Wererabbit. Now, before we go on to our hosts and everything, has anyone actually seen Curse of the Wererabbit?
Oh, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yep.
Twice, I think.
Elton?
I think I have.
So you voted for something you don't even know if you've seen it.
It's Wallace and Gromit. How can you go wrong?
I don't know. We might just find out. But anyway, okay, cool. I assume you have, Jim. You were very quick off the mark with that.
Oh, yes, I own a copy.
Excelente. Well, it is on Netflix anyway, and it is on Amazon as well. So it is going to be easy to get hold of, and it's probably going to be on the BBC about 7 million times between now and Christmas anyway. So, yes, odd Christmas choice, but but there you go. Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Wererabbit. Leave your feedback on the Facebook group. Actually, leave it on the banner. When I post up the banner on the Facebook group, you can actually post comments to the banner. Do it there. Leave your Facebook group. Leave your Facebook feedback there. So, before we go, Jim, do you want to tell us about your fine wares and your other news about your podcasts?
Yes, you can hear me on my own show, Hypnagoria, where the episode that just dropped has been a somewhat light-hearted investigation into the origins of Jack Frost.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhat foolishly, I decided a good follow-up episode would be to do a commentary for the Killer Slowman Schlockfest film from 1987 called Jack Frost, about a serial killer who possesses a snowman and has a Christmas murderous rampage.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? I don't know. But in between then, in fact, tomorrow, there's the first of my readings of a ghost story for Christmas dropping. As this year, every week, as well as the usual podcast, I'm doing a reading of a Christmas ghost, or a ghost story for Christmas. So there you go.
Okay. And what will be, has your Patreon things dropped today? I mean, your Patreon specials.
Oh, yes, they went out end of last week. So,
That's
yes.
right. Cool. And so you can join, so you can donate to Jim's Patreon, which is patreon.com/hypnagoria.
That is correct. Yes.
There you go.
We're on that. If you donate $6, you get the long rambling show Lost Transmissions, in which I'm doing a first half of a very idiosyncratic Christmas top 10.
To say the least.
If you donate $3, you get the show Hauntography, which this week is actually this month rather is a sequel to an earlier one this year.
Mm.
A memoir from an alternative 1970s.
Yes. And all very good too. Well worth the blooming money, I may say. $6. So, cool. Excellent. Right. And what about you, Elton?
You can catch me on all the normal places, including Shonky Lab this week, where we're talking about wounds and injuries. We're determined to keep the new format for a little while, so fingers crossed it'll work. So you can find that at shonkylab.com.
Yeah.
So please pop along there, download it to your heart's content.
Yeah. Very funny, but don't listen while having your dinner.
Yes, definitely not one. Definitely not one for the squeamish. That episode.
Pete Hammond, we salute you. How the fuck are you still alive, sir?
I think he's like Steve Austin. I think he's the fucking.
I think he's like
Bionic
Ryan
Man.
Gosling. He's invincible.
Yeah, he's like, oh, what happened? Oh, well, I got gouged eye out. Oh, my leg fell off. I got a shot in the face. I someone sort of reamed me out using a pole axe. I mean, it's just like, what the fucking hell happened to that man? How much of it is
I
real?
don't know how that boy is still alive.
No. I honestly started to get the vision of Lloyd Bridges from Hot Shots. You know, where his head, where he can't hear anything because his ears are basically a steel tube that goes right through his skull. He's like 90% metal. But anyway, cool. Okay, and and your Patreon, sir, which is obviously there. So go on, you can promote it. I'm going to keep you promoting this bloody thing until you actually do it yourself.
Yeah, okay. You can pop along to Patreon, and you can patreon.com/Rogue2Media, and it keeps all the shows. That is everything that we do on the air at the moment. So thank you very much.
How about I do it? So if you go over to patreon.com and you go to the Rogue2 Media, patreon.com/Rogue2Media, you can keep the Shonky Lab and the Grand Prix podcast and the other podcasts like is the Apotheosis of Bombast still being supported on there?
I think it is, yeah.
And
No, it's not. No,
And
but,
a Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers, X-Files, and others to come as well.
Yep, keeping that stuff in web space is not cheap, friends. So if you like any of those podcasts, you want to support it, go over to patreon.com. See, that's how you do it, Elton. Patreon.com/Rogue2Media. I'm going to keep promoting the shit out of everyone's podcasts until the cows come home, or I start my own Patreon, in which case, fuck y'alls, it's every man for himself. Anyway.
Pull the ripcord.
Yeah, pull the ripcord. Suddenly it goes down to 2 hosts. And it's all for me. Right, so, yeah. Just find me, find my artwork on Instagram. You can find the Black Dog Podcast on Twitter, which is Black Dog Podcast. You can find our website, which really is just another way of getting the podcast, or you can send in feedback through that. But we're not reading out feedback. But you can send us a message, say hello, through the blackdogpodcast.com. And you can find us on iTunes. Do leave us a little review if you can. And there's also a YouTube page. If you can't get to the podcast, you can go to YouTube/channels/Black Dog Podcast, and you can see the video of this podcast, which is essentially a big still frame of the logo and this podcast. Brilliant. So that's it. Dal, have you got anything to promote while we're at it? While we're all on the promotional tip?
Just the fact that I'm a pretty good bloke.
Are you the hot stepper?
I am. I like pina coladas. Walks in the rain.
Yeah.
I'm not much in health food. I'm into champagne.
I was going to say the next line, but I really don't want to ask that.
What? Do I like making love at midnight in the dunes of a Cape?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, anybody's up for it. I'll meet you in a bar called O'Malley's where we'll plan our escape.
Brilliant. And on that note, thanks very much for listening. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time for Curse of the Wererabbit. Until then, take care. Thanks very much. And tatty bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Call me.
Oh, bollocks to it.